Hello, Reality Reckoning Nation. Welcome to an exclusive story that will shake the 90-Day Fiancé world to its core. I'm your host, Lex Montgomery. For years, we have watched Colt Johnson try to navigate love and international dating with the grace of a bull in a china shop. Many thought he had retreated into a quiet life with Mother Debbie and his computers disappearing into obscurity. But that assumption was wrong. Terribly wrong. What we reveal today is not another silly chapter in the Colt Johnson saga, but a serious love story that has been unfolding in secret for the last 12 months. Colt Johnson has been in a hidden relationship with a girl from Australia named Emma. According to a trusted source, Emma is now pregnant, and the couple has finally decided to reveal their relationship. Their wedding is set for February 10th, 2026. To understand why this is so shocking, we must first revisit Colt's public history. He became known for dysfunctional and messy relationships. His first was with Larissa dos Santos Lima. It was filled with cultural clashes, constant fights about money, and even arrests. It ended with Larissa calling him a cheater, liar, and a stupid man. Before the dust settled, Colt moved on to Jess Caroline. That relationship was even more toxic, filled with screaming matches in cars, accusations, and hostility. Then came Vanessa, a quieter relationship that was supposed to be Colt's redemption. They married and moved in together. For a brief moment, things seemed stable, but soon the weight of the past and the ever-present shadow of Mother Debbie destroyed it. They divorced, and Colt disappeared from the spotlight. The story appeared clear. Colt Johnson could not handle a healthy, private relationship. His love life was seen as a train wreck, a public joke, and a cautionary tale. But what if that wasn't the full story? What if his public chaos was a mask, covering something real behind the scenes? Our investigation suggests this is exactly what happened. While fans laughed at Colt, he was planning a secret life far from the gossip and cameras. The first real sign of this secret came about 3 months ago, when our team was contacted by someone close to the Johnson household. For their safety, we are protecting their identity. They told us Colt had been in a serious long-distance relationship for almost a year. It started around last spring. At that time, people assumed Colt was depressed after his split with Vanessa. He spent long hours on the computer at night. Debbie would mention that he was chatting with online friends. She thought it was annoying but not suspicious. Slowly, Colt's behavior changed. He became more secretive about his phone. He started taking calls in another room, something he had never bothered to do before. He talked about a friend who was helping him with advice. Then came the weekend trips. Colt told Debbie he was going to tech conventions in California or visiting an old friend in Arizona. But one day, the source saw a flight confirmation on his computer. It wasn't for California. It was for Los Angeles with a connecting flight to Sydney, Australia. At first, the source thought maybe it was just a private vacation. But the pattern continued. Colt's late-night computer sessions became more frequent. He seemed happier, lighter, but also more protective of his privacy. One night, the source overheard him on a video call. His voice was softer, gentler than ever before. He said things like, "I wish you were here," and "I can't wait for our next room date." The term room date struck the source as strange. Not a dinner date, not a movie date, just room date. The source became curious and paid closer attention. Then came the fight. About a month ago, Colt and Debbie had a huge argument. Debbie was crying, accusing him of being irresponsible, and asking what this Emma person was trying to do. Colt yelled back that Emma was real, that they were in love, and that she was pregnant. He told Debbie, "The baby changes everything. Mom, we have to come clean." It was then that the truth became impossible to deny. This wasn't just a secret girlfriend. It was a life-changing relationship. That testimony gave us a name, a country, and a reason for secrecy. But we needed proof. Digital footprints don't lie, and what we found proved that this was not a casual fling. With only the name Emma and the location Australia, our digital team began searching. We checked social media, follower lists, and gaming forums. Colt's accounts were quiet, but we were not looking for obvious posts, we were looking for small traces. On Instagram, one private account stood out. It had the name Emma, followed Colt, and also followed several 90 Day Fiancé fan pages. More importantly, it followed multiple Australian travel and visa advice accounts. On Discord, where Colt uses the name Las Vegas, our team looked back through months of chat logs. There were repeated mentions of someone called Emma, sometimes spelled Emma, who played games with him. Their gaming sessions often lined up with early mornings in Las Vegas and evenings in Sydney, perfectly matching the time difference. The most unexpected clue came from Debbie herself. Months ago, she showed off a rose bush that Colt had given her for Mother's Day. She said proudly that it was an Australian variety. At the time, it seemed like a simple gift. Now, it looks like another piece of evidence hiding in plain sight. When you put the pieces together, the picture becomes clear. Colt Johnson, thought to be unlucky and incapable of true love, has been in a hidden relationship with Emma in Australia. They weren't only chatting online. They were meeting, traveling, and building a future together. With Emma now pregnant and a wedding set for February 10th, 2026, their secret is about to become public. For years, Colt has been seen as a cautionary tale, a man who could not manage love without disaster. But while the world mocked him, he was quietly planning something real. The secrecy, the vague trips, the calls late at night, the whispered name Emma, and even the rose bush all connect into one truth. Colt Johnson has been living a double life, and soon it will all come out. The narrative we once believed may not have been accurate. The bumbling, awkward man from reality TV may have finally found what he was searching for. Away from the spotlight, away from the chaos, he has built a real connection. Now, with Emma by his side, a baby on the way, and a wedding around the corner, Colt Johnson is stepping into a new chapter. The story is no longer about a man stumbling through relationships. It is about a man who kept love private until he could reveal it on his own terms. His past may have been messy, but his future looks very different. Colt Johnson's life is about to change forever, and for once, it may not be a disaster. It may be the beginning of something real. A pink sunshine. Colt had been interested in Australian things more and more, and at the time, no one thought much of it. Debbie made a casual remark about it, and fans brushed it off as just another one of her quirky sayings. But looking back, a rose bush from Australia, a sudden interest in all things Australian, it wasn't random. It was a breadcrumb. Our source then gave us a crucial piece of evidence, a screenshot from a delivery app on Colt's phone. The order was placed months ago. 2 pizzas, garlic bread, and a chocolate dessert from a place near his house. The delivery instructions read, "Please leave at door. Do not ring bell. On a video date with my girlfriend in Australia. Don't want to interrupt. Thanks." There it was, written by Colt himself to a delivery driver. He admitted it casually, almost carelessly. He was on a video date with his girlfriend in Australia. Colt was living a double life, and the walls of secrecy were starting to thin. The digital trail was faint but undeniable. Colt Johnson was deeply involved with a woman from Australia. But who was she? We had her first name. We had a city. What we didn't have was her face. Then, thanks to a surprising slip, we found her. Her name is Emma Connolly. She is 28 years old, a graphic designer from the Northern Beaches area of Sydney. According to both our source and our own research, Emma is not at all what people would expect Colt Johnson's partner to be. She is creative, fiercely independent, witty, and most surprisingly, normal. She has no interest in fame. She has a small group of close friends, and until recently, lived quietly. So how did they meet? Not on a dating app, as many might assume. They met in the comments section of a tech review YouTube channel. They were both debating about wireless headphones. That online argument turned into private messages, then texts, and then long late-night video calls. Our source says Colt was drawn to her because she had no idea who he was. Emma had never seen 90 Day Fiancé. She liked him for his humor, his intelligence, and his personality, the very traits viewers had never really seen on television. For Emma, Colt was different from the men in Sydney. He was attentive, caring, and genuinely curious about her life and her work. But how did they manage to keep this a secret? The answer lies in careful planning. They used encrypted apps like Signal. They shared private albums under fake names. They avoided posting anything about each other. And they created their own ritual, which they called room dates. A room date was their substitute for a night out. They would order similar takeout meals, watch the same movie on Netflix at the same time, using a browser extension to sync, and even play online games together. It was a digital version of sharing a life, carried out quietly, night after night. But love can't stay confined to screens forever. They needed to meet in person. That is where the real risk came in. A long-distance relationship across the Pacific Ocean requires planning, money, and secrecy. And they managed to pull it off not once, but 3 times over the past year. The first meeting happened last summer. Emma took vacation time and flew to Los Angeles, not Las Vegas. Las Vegas would have been too close to Debbie, too risky. Colt told Debbie he was attending a 3-day networking seminar in Anaheim. It was the perfect cover, boring, generic, and believable. For 3 days, he and Emma stayed in a modest hotel near LAX. Our source even provided a credit card record showing hotel charges, restaurant bills, and a ticket to the Getty Museum. This wasn't a fling. They had real dates. When Colt returned, he claimed the seminar had been outdoors, explaining away his sunburn. He brought Debbie a cheap keychain as a souvenir. The secret was safe. Their second meeting was riskier. They chose a halfway point, Honolulu, Hawaii, a popular tourist spot where they could blend in. Colt told Debbie he had won a free weekend trip from a tech raffle. He said he was taking a male coworker. Debbie didn't ask questions. Our team was able to confirm through flight records that an Emma Connolly flew from Sydney to Honolulu, while Colt flew from Las Vegas to Honolulu on the same weekend. A grainy photo from the trip surfaced, showing Colt with his arm around a woman, whose face is turned away. But her long blonde hair and a tattoo of the Sydney Opera House on her wrist gave her away. The third meeting was the riskiest. Emma flew directly to Las Vegas. Colt told Debbie an old friend from Brazil was visiting, and he was showing them around. Debbie was suspicious. She pressed him for details, wanting a name. Colt, caught off guard, blurted out Anna. For that weekend, Emma was Anna. She never came to the Johnson house. Instead, Colt booked them a hotel room on the Strip, far away from home. They had their Las Vegas room date in an actual hotel room. But the lie was fraying. Debbie sensed something was wrong. The cover story was becoming too fragile. After Emma returned home, things seemed tense. The source overheard calls that sounded different. Emma was quieter, nervous. Colt was more withdrawn. Then, about 6 weeks ago, the calls stopped altogether for a few days. Colt was restless and upset. When the calls resumed, they were hushed and emotional. The source says this was the moment they knew something huge had happened. The truth came out during a fight between Colt and Debbie. The source described Debbie sobbing, asking Colt how he could be so foolish, accusing Emma of trapping him. Debbie screamed that this was exactly what Emma wanted, but Colt fought back. He told her she didn't understand that they were in love and that Emma was pregnant. He shouted, "This is my child." The pregnancy was unexpected but not unwanted. For Colt, it was the final turning point. Secrecy was no longer possible. With a baby on the way, they had to plan for visas, doctors, and a shared future. This was no longer about a hidden romance. This was about family. But Debbie was devastated. She felt betrayed and blindsided. The bond between her and Colt, which had always been strong, was badly fractured. And then there was the name Anna. In the middle of the chaos, it turned from a slip into a symbol of the whole lie. Colt had used it in desperation, and now it became a central part of the story. Emma had been living under the name Anna in Debbie's eyes. It was the crack that exposed the entire secret. Debbie latched onto it. And her name isn't even Anna, is it? You lied too. Me. Who is she? This, our source believes, is why the initial leak to the press contained the wrong name. Someone in the household, perhaps trying to control the narrative or cause confusion, used the fake name Debbie knew. So, to be perfectly clear, the woman is named Emma. The initial reports of Anna were a red herring, a relic of A. Desperate lie told to Mother Debbie. The baby, however, is very real. And it was this new life that finally forced Colt Johnson's longest and most serious relationship into the light. The news broke like a dam. First, a vague blind item on a popular gossip blog. Then, another, then full-blown headlines. The source of the initial leaks is unclear. It could have been a frustrated Debbie, a friend of Emma's in Australia who finally noticed, or even someone from the visa paperwork process. With the story spiraling, Colt and Emma had no choice. They had to control the narrative. 2 days ago, they broke their silence in the most modern way possible. A joint Instagram post. Cole post on social media account caption after a year of keeping our little world private. It's time to share our biggest joy with all of you. We're so excited to announce that we're expecting a baby later this year. This journey started as a crazy, unexpected connection across the world and has grown into a love we never knew possible. The distance has been hard, but it's only made us stronger. We can't wait for this next chapter and to finally bring our families together. Please be kind as we navigate this exciting time. The post, as you can imagine, sent the 90-day fiancé community into an absolute frenzy. Comments poured in by the hundreds of thousands. A mix of shock, support, skepticism, and utter confusion. The post was carefully crafted. It was positive, focused on the future, and gave away just enough to satisfy curiosity without revealing the deeper layers of secrecy and the tension with Debbie. It was their official story. But as we now know, the real story is so much more complex. So what's next for Colt and Emma? It's not just about baby names and nurseries. The practicalities of their situation are a labyrinth of international law. Firstly, the baby. The child will be an Australian citizen by birthright if born there. Colt will need to file a consular report of birth abroad to establish the child's U.S. citizenship. It's paperwork he's likely unfamiliar with. Secondly, and most crucially, unification. Our source confirms that a wedding is indeed the plan. The date is set for February 10th, 2026, but why so far away? Why not get married quickly and file for a spousal visa? The answer is strategic. A K-1 fiancé visa, which court knows all too well, requires the couple to marry within 90 days of the immigrant entering the U.S. It's a high-pressure timeline, especially with a newborn. The smarter, more stable option is the CR1 visa. They marry first, anywhere in the world, and then file. While the processing time is similarly long, the immigrant spouse receives a green card immediately upon entry to the U.S. Number 90-day pressure cooker. It allows them to plan the wedding on their own terms, enjoy the early days of parenthood in Australia, and then move to the States as a family when the visa is approved. The February 2026 date suggests this is their plan, a wedding after the baby is born, followed by the visa application. But where will they live? Our source indicates this is a major point of contention. Emma has a thriving career and a support system in Sydney. Colt's life, his house, and his mother are in Las Vegas. Can Debbie accept a daughter-in-law and grandchild living 7,000 miles away? Will Colt move to Australia? The logistics are a nightmare waiting to happen, ripe for the kind of drama TLC would salivate over. In fact, sources close to Sharp Entertainment, the producers of 90 Day Fiancé, tell us that cameras have already been offered a diary special, a new season of The Other Way with Colt moving to Australia. The offers are on the table. The question is, will Colt and Emma, who cherished their privacy, trade it all in for one more paycheck and another round of international scrutiny? We cannot talk about Colt's future without addressing the elephant in the room. Debbie, the mother-son dynamic has been the through line of every one of his relationships. It has been his shield and his shackle. According to our source, the current situation is icy at best. Debbie feels betrayed on a profound level. The year of lies cuts deeper than any of Colt's previous public messes. Furthermore, the prospect of a grandchild that might be raised in another country is her worst nightmare. Was she warned to Emma? Will she accept a role as a long-distance grandmother? Or will this create a permanent rift between her and Colt? This, more than any visa issue, may be the biggest. Challenge Colt and Emma face. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that where Colt goes, Debbie is never far behind. Unless this time he finally cuts the cord. So what are we left with? After years of very public failure, Colt Johnson somehow managed to pull off the most private success story of his life. He built a real emotional connection away from the cameras. He found a partner who liked him for who he is, not for his D-list fame. For a full year, he was just Colt, not culty, not a reality TV villain, just a man in love. The ultimate irony is staggering. The man who became famous for botching international relationships on television successfully conducted a secret international relationship for a year. The man who seemed incapable of honesty kept the biggest secret of his life. The man whose love life was a public joke. Farman appears to be genuine private love. Was it right to keep it secret, to lie to everyone, including his mother? That's debatable, but it worked for them until it didn't. Now, their private world is public property. The scrutiny is back. The cameras are likely coming. The pressure of a baby and a visa loom large. And Mother Debbie is waiting in the wings, wounded and weary. Their great adventure is just beginning. And something tells me this might be the most dramatic season of Cole Johnson's life yet. And folks, you heard it here first. What do you think? Is this true love or a disaster waiting to happen? Will Debbie accept Emma? Let me know in the comments below. More update. 90 Day Fiancé. Courtney reveals the truth about her relationship with Colt. Are they still together? The couple shares a major update addressing fans' questions about whether they're still going strong. Meanwhile, Courtney and Elise open up about their unbreakable bond, sharing surprising details about Colt. And in a shocking twist, Cole Johnson reveals he suffered a new injury after a fall during Hunt for Love. I will explain everything. 100 Day following their introduction on Hunt for Love, VN star Courtney revealed that she is in a relationship with Colt. Tell All had her attack him even though she had chosen Yasmin over him in the finale. Despite his claims that they enjoyed their routine, she found it unpleasant. Holt has been using medication for a long time, but he has never admitted it. Vanessa was on board with Courtney's decision to publicly expose him. Kim, who was previously with Usman, recently complimented Courtney on her beauty, but told her to be bolder and more forthright. Her take on the Usman-Courtney cult love triangle was that Courtney should never have led Yasmin, as if she hadn't felt any feelings for him, informing her co-stars and host Suki that Colt had cheated on her. Courtney shocked them all. Two men pursued her relentlessly, trapping her in their path. As the American celebrity hoisted his temporary green flag, he became closer to Colt until she discovered he was useless. She nearly disregarded his warning signs. Colt manipulated Courtney's emotions by allegedly cheating on her. As Courtney revealed in Tell All, she was heartbroken when he betrayed her after she had given their relationship a chance. He was intending to meet up with another woman when the reality star overheard them talking. As she went on to say, a female had sent him flowers. Tim stood up for his friend, even though it embarrassed Colt a bit. Suki planted the seed of doubt that he would come to regret choosing Courtney. Courtney and Colt recently spoke about their lives in an interview, if they are still dating. One interviewer asked her directly. Additionally, he was curious as to whether he was still dining on her parents' prepared meals or whether they were staying with her. Courtney chose not to reveal her relationship status with Colt at this time. Stay tuned for ultimate disclosure, she pleaded with the audience. She is legally bound to say anything because of her TLC contracts. However, she did bring up the persistent accusations that her partner is seeing a Brazilian lady. A lot of people on social media have been saying that Colt is living in Brazil for the last several weeks. True, he has dredged up a female to say she's his now and forever girlfriend rather than Courtney, who he claims dumped him. A year has gone since she welcomed him into her house, and she still hasn't found him a job or a place to sleep. After dealing With Colt's relationships with a handful of Brazilian women, Courtney is nearly exhausted. It began Inu even after I had previously put an end to the rumors. Her efforts to lay the hypothesis to rest have become more challenging as a result. In the Reddit post where the interview was shared, someone criticized her for letting a destitute man live with her parents, even though he doesn't contribute in any way. Courtney and Colt share major update on their relationship. Hunt for Love was a place where 90 Day Fiancé's Courtney Rearns and Cole Johnson became close. At first, the former's intention was to avoid ever seeing the latter. His past relationships with ladies like Lissa Lemur made her want to avoid him. Vanessa Guerra was Johnson's girlfriend for a long period as well, but they had a rocky relationship due to his unanticipated leg injury, and they broke up secretly. This reality TV star joined Hunt for Love in the hopes of rediscovering love and settling down with someone permanent. His feelings for Courtney were immediate, and he hoped to take her heart away from Usman Yuma. Because of his second leg injury, the reality TV star was able to draw nearer to her. Many viewers are wondering if Courtney and Colt actually reached the series conclusion. Is their relationship ongoing? How are they currently behaving? This reality TV star joined Hunt for Love in the hopes of rediscovering love and settling down with someone permanent. His feelings for Courtney were immediate, and he hoped to take her heart away from Usman Yuma.